Game Boy quickly found its niche in the video game universe with single-screen games, and many were pretty great affairs. Dexterity is another of these, whereby the game is solid because they were reasonably easy to pull off on the system. The trick was making them at least a little original. You control a flat-capped fellow in an 8x7 grid, with the aim of flipping over all the tiles to the darker side, while avoiding enemies POCubed style. The enemies don't really chase you. If they have any aggressive AI, it's not apparent. They just toddle around, occasionally turning tiles back over. Similar to Othello, you can turn over a whole line of tiles both horizontally and vertically if there is a flipped over tile at the other end. Doing this while an enemy is between the two will trip up the alien, leaving it motionless and harmless for a few seconds. They'll eventually right themselves and be dangerous straight away, but fortunately they blink and make a siren sound just before this happens, so you can be prepared. Some levels have pushable blocks that can be used to squash enemies, and while they do respawn, they're out of your way for a considerably longer period than if you just flip them, and can often drop bonuses like extra points, or a really cool pickup that clears out all the enemies on the screen. It's definitely worth using these blocks as a priority. The first few enemies you'll encounter are slow and reasonably easy to avoid, and they don't flip tiles too often. Later on, they get faster and more annoying in their job's-worth ways. Some can jump to avoid your attacks, some can push blocks back at you, and some can dig holes in the ground, permanently blocking your path. Basically, the enemies are there to troll you. You can clear out one whole side of the screen, only for an enemy to flip over one tile and make you rush back over there. There's a time limit, which is generous at first, but soon puts the pressure on. You don't start with many lives, but others can be picked up, and if you die on a stage, you pick up where you fell. You don't have to replay the whole thing. It's always nice when that happens. Every 4 stages gives a bonus level, which is a simple tile memorization game, with tons of points to be had. It's a shame there's no password save, as later on the levels get pretty tricky, and if you lose all of your lives in quick succession, you won't get to continue. It's beneficial with titles like this to be able to practice levels time and again. Yes, enemy movement is kind of random, but placement is not, and it would be nice to be able to develop strategies. There's very cool multi-mode as well, where you have a cross layout of 5 screens to complete in one go. This is much tougher, and the time limit will undoubtedly come into play a lot more, but it's an excellent step up in difficulty for more accomplished players. The sound effects aren't particularly prominent, but what's there is done well, and the jaunty background tune is unobtrusive. The graphics are pretty plain, sure, but it's not meant to be a fancy game. I didn't expect to enjoy this all that much, but it's quite captivating and gets pretty frantic at times. You're presented with a simple set of rules that have an ever-increasing complexity of tactics. Give it a go if you fancy a unique, fast-paced little action game.